Hello, I am Gregory, and it is that time of year. Kind of a sad time of year as the holiday season is coming to a close. It's New Year's Eve as I am recording this, and I just completed my sort of daily writings journal for the year. So I just want to do a quick flip through. First of all, you'll see this cover. I've been super happy with this cover. I'm gonna have to link to the maker on Etsy, but this is a beautiful vegan cover. It's been extremely durable. In fact, it's aged very little since I've had it, and yet has this sort of built-in distressed look. Super happy with it. So be sure and check the description for a link to this company. Last I checked, their shop was temporarily closed. I assume that's just for the holidays. Yeah. So hopefully by the time you see this, they're back open and accepting orders, because this is amazing, beautifully thick material. All right. So this has been my writing glove for the year. I've used it most of the year. Yeah, just to prevent oils from getting on the paper. But we're gonna say goodbye to this in 2025 because, first of all, it's getting a little bit raggedy. It's gotten a ton of use, and I don't feel like it's completely necessary. I thought the paper would be more susceptible to hand oils, but it really hasn't been, because there were a few times where I didn't use the glove and I was like, oh, well, this is working fine without the glove, so so why mess around with the glove, right? So goodbye to the glove. You served me well. All right, but yes, this cover. All right, now for the purposes of this flip through, I'm gonna remove it from the cover, but you see there it has some pockets here. I never did use those. You can tuck the cover into the front there. We have the little life is present, the little information that came with the planner. We have a bigger pocket here, and then another pocket for this to fit through, the back cover to fit through. If you hear noises, the cat is being very, well, one of the cats is being very playful right now. The other cat is off somewhere sleeping, probably in the bedroom, but yeah. So for the purposes of this flip through, we're gonna remove the cover. So just a last look at the cover here. Again, this has served me really well. You have this sort of double pen loop. I have this thick mechanical pencil with a wooden body, and I was just wedging that in there to keep it closed. Yeah. But a final look at that. I will be using this somehow, but in the next video, you're going to see my new setup, which unfortunately does not include this, but I will have use for this, and it has a lot of life left in it, and I love it. I love it. So yeah, it will be back. All right. So this has been my daily writings journal / planner for 2024, the Hobonichi Techo Cousin. Last year, or I should say in 2023, I was using the A6 size Hobonichi Techo, which I absolutely loved. I love that size. I love the feel of it. The look of it. It looks much better than this one does. It did serve me very well, but I felt very confined. There's only so much you can put in that small space. So I decided to upgrade to this one. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do our flip through here. So in the beginning, you have the monthly pages. I wasn't using those much at all. Basically writing down holidays, birthdays, that sort of thing. Yes, I turned 52 this year. Yeah, so you have the monthly pages, the weekly pages. I will mention I was putting my sort of work schedule, but yeah, let's just say it was a rough year. So and I'll get to that more in a bit. But see there, the weekly pages, again, I didn't do much in the way of scheduling. This ended up being more of just a daily writing journal rather than a planner. Yeah, I haven't been much of a planner like my whole life, so so why start now? No. All right, so turning the page to a new year. All right, so let's do it. All right, so starting out, I was super excited. I was going to do these little, I like doing these swirly snail looking things. I think it's a nice way to kind of show the ink and the there you have a stub. It's a nice line variation there, that sort of thing. I wasn't consistent about it, and yeah, I ended up stopping it. All right, so just to give you a quick overview of my daily writing process. So I would record the time that I'm doing the entry at. It happened to be New Year's Day. The current temperature, the expected high, the expected low, and the current conditions. So on January 1st at 7:07 a.m., it was 45 degrees, the expected high of 64, expected low of 44, and it was cloudy. And so here, at this point, I was just doing one pen per day. So the pen of the day was the Benu Briolet Storm with a broad nib. I haven't used that pen in a long time, actually. Oh, and I guess I was doing gradings in here. I don't remember at what point I stopped doing that. I actually want to get back to that. Yeah, but that's for the next video. Let's see here. So, and then I do a quote of the day, and then an English word of the day, a Spanish word of the day. Now here I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to be doing with this ultimately. So I was kind of recording, just almost in bullet point form my day. Breakfast, I had oats overnight and chocolates, apparently, probably left over from Christmas. Feeling depressed, yes. The challenging year I had started actually before this entry. So watching fountain pen videos. We were going to Carlsbad that day. I was listening to From TV and Movies playlist. So just a generic, that's a playlist I had put together. And I'm still adding to that. That's a fun one. For lunch I had a sandwich and cookies. For dinner, pasta and pecan pie. Ooh. And then feeling better, but sad holidays are over. That sort of thing. So, yeah. So I think I stuck to this format for a little while, so you have an idea of the format. All right, so then here we have the Benu Euphoria Caviar with Benu Blue Black. I really like that, actually. And I'll try and take note of when things change, but this is pretty much just gonna be a flip through, and I'll point out certain inks and pens that I really like, such as Robert Oster African Gold. I love that. That's beautiful. And also Robert Oster Avocado. That's an excellent, excellent green. As far as green inks go, I really enjoy sort of the more natural looking greens. So very nice. And this is a nice combo here. So yeah, I guess these were the first days where I started doing 2 pens per day. So it didn't even take a week. Yeah. Okay, one of my favorite green inks, another green ink I love, Kyoto Tag is 03 Coquette Euro. Yeah, that is still my favorite green ink, definitely. Interesting to note here, I see a couple Mont Blanc inks listed here. So the wife and I on 2 separate occasions went to Mont Blanc stores, and the only thing I could afford in those stores was bottles of ink. So I picked up James Dean Rebel Red and Mont Blanc Cool Gray. So we're into February. Okay, here is an ink I have to talk about. I have to say, my favorite line of inks, a lot of people will say, you know, okay, maybe Diamine or certainly Pilot Iroshizuku. That's a very, very popular line of inks. But I have to say, my favorite line of inks is Sailor Urameku. Those inks are magical. They are magical. So, and that is my favorite that I've experienced from that particular line. And I have, I think 5 or 6 of them. So, if you haven't written with Sailor Urameku inks, you are missing out, because it's a magical experience. They go down a certain color, and then based on the paper you're writing on and even the lighting conditions, the ink will completely change color as it dries, and it's amazing to see that. So I highly recommend those, and that is a particular favorite. Okay, now here's a couple more inks worth pointing out. The inks made by the Wet Pen, Matthew at the Wet Pen. I only have the first 2 that he came out with, and they're very similar to the Sailor Urameku inks in that they change color as they dry. And I think these have even changed color a little bit, just from the aging process. Again, this was February 18, so, you know, 11 months ago, 11 months ago, something like that. So I think they have aged a little bit, but these are stunning, especially this green one. Oh my goodness. And they're very, very well behaved. Very well behaved. Let me see if I can find, because that's actually one thing I want to mention. So again, I believe this was the first year of the new paper. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I found this paper is not as good as the original paper. The original paper, I never, ever, ever had bleed through. But here you do get little bits. It's not a ton, but little bits. So, yeah. But yeah, the wet pen, keep an eye out for when he releases inks. They sell out very quickly, and he just makes them to help support his YouTube channel. So the wet pen on YouTube. And I think his website might also be thewetpen.com, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. All right, here's where we start to lose it a little bit. I even wrote in pencil this day. So I had jury duty. Most people consider that a bad thing. I wanted to be on a jury. I'll just say I had been extremely unhappy at my job for a long time. So the thought of being on a jury for a week or two sounded like a vacation. Nevertheless, I had jury duty and I was too tired to do the daily writings. So, yeah. Yeah, here we're going to start seeing more of this, unfortunately. So, March 1st, I was struggling with motivation. Again, very unhappy at work. And just briefly, I'll say there were some safety issues that I had brought up to management. They essentially ignored my concerns. And so my mental state started declining because I did not feel safe. So, yeah. So unfortunately, that also affects this journal. Oh, that's a good one. Pilot Roshizuku Inaho. Isn't that one of the ones that they retired? I think it is. All right, I have to say something about this ink. Monteverde Blue Skies. I think this was a Goulet Pens exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know how they came up with this name, because it's called Monteverde Blue Skies, but this to me isn't a blue sky. Maybe like evening sky or something like that. It's too dark. Plus, it has this intense. I don't know if you can see that, but it has this intense sheen. Yeah, I mean, I like the ink, but I don't think it fits the name at all. Here again, you see I was too tired, so I just in pencil wrote tired, so tired. Forgot my daily writings. Yeah, it gets worse. Monteverde Canyon Rust, I like that one. It seems like it does age though, because I don't remember it being quite this color when it goes down. There you see the wet pen Elliott Bay again. That's gorgeous. Too lazy and tired. I went back to make use of this page and did some scribbles there showing the inks, and apparently there was a little mishap. But this would be a good point to show. Well, see there, yeah, you have some bleeding right there. Yeah, that's disappointing. Yeah, you're gonna see some of this, unfortunately. A couple missed days there. A couple more missed days. Another miss. Actually, this whole section here was missed. But I went back and wrote down my currently inked pens. Yeah, bunch of missed days. Here I'm still recording some details of the day, feeling, breakfast, drinking. Oh, this is another beautiful ink. Birmingham Pen Company Hydrangea, coming out of the Karis Pen Company Vertex, hard black 1.1 stub. Excellent pen, excellent ink, definitely. Now we're into April. it may have been here that I stopped like documenting bits and pieces of my day, like what I was eating, what I was doing, how I was feeling. Here we just have the pen and ink combos, of course, my usual header there, a quote, English word of the day, Spanish word of the day, and yeah. Yeah, so it was when I tell you it was a rough year, it was a rough year. So in a way, I'm very thankful for the new year. Yeah. So many missed pages. Here's a fun ink, Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. It's this really intense blue, and then it has some pretty crazy magenta sheen. So that's a fun ink there. Yeah. So this was around the time that things came to a head. Actually, I think it may have been, yeah, it was right around here that I had enough at work, and I said, you know what, this is not good for my mental health, so I quit. And I do not regret it one bit. So I think we're gonna start seeing me getting back into a rhythm, although again, even after I quit, you know, the damage was done mentally. so I was dealing with that. Another favorite ink, Monteverde Fire Opal. That's an excellent one. And also Private Reserve Black Cherry. I love inks that when you first look at them, it looks like they're black, but then you realize, oh wait, there's a little color to that. So, two excellent inks. I experimented with, you know, doing these, and it handled it fairly well. You see some bleed through there. I don't think the old paper would have done that, but because that stuff was amazing. But it handled this pretty well on both sides, yeah. So there's still going to be missed days, but I was experimenting, and this, I think, was the first point at which I draw something so I can put the two inks in close proximity to see how they kind of work together. So that was one. I like doing these swirly things. I find that very therapeutic. Try it. There still could be some missed pages. Quite a few missed pages, actually. Occasionally I would go back because I felt bad missing pages, and so I'd just do something like this, just make use of some of these pages. One of my favorite black inks, it may still be my favorite black ink, Twisby Black. This is a nice comparison between Twisby Black and Sailor Black. Sailor Black has a little too much shading for my liking. Here's another one of the Sailor Yurameku Kokoro Guma. That's a nice one as well. Again, they go down a certain color, and as they dry, you can literally see the color changing. Absolutely amazing. Apparently, I was back to just doing 1 pen a day. Yes. Yes. That's Jenny. She's a calico. So she's a little princess. That's what she is. Oh, I like seeing this, just a page just of Elliott Bay all by itself. Stunning ink. And then here we have Deception Pass. I think I do prefer Deception Pass, although Elliott Bay is a little more legible. Yeah, interesting how I started just doing 1 pen a day again. I think I was doing that because I wanted to simplify things, you know, due to mental health. But still missed days, you know. I'm telling you, it was one of the worst years of my life, actually. We're seeing a lot of repetition here. We're into August now. Still just 1 pen per day. And some missed pages. That's interesting. This is Sailor Yurameku Kokoro Guma. But out of this pen, it looks completely different than it did earlier. Wow. Oh, still so many missed pages. And I'll briefly get into what I'm going to do about that for next year. Although you'll see more of that when I do my next video talking about my system for this year, or this coming year. Oh, even in September, so many missed days. Ooh, look at that, beautiful. Octopus Flu is orange, that's a nice orange, has some excellent shading. Robert Oster Whiskey, that's an interesting one. Okay, so it looks like October 9th. This might be when things started going a little back to normal as far as this routine. Monteverde Ice Cookie, that is my favorite teal. That is a beautiful, beautiful ink. I love that so much. Another Yurameku ink, Date Gokoro. Yeah. Oh, yes. I don't think I already showed this one. My favorite brown ink, J.R. Bond, Light the Tay. I could be wrong, but I think that means leaves of tea or tea leaves. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, just look at iced cookie. That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, see, now we're back into mostly a system. I think there were still some missed days. Yep. Unfortunately, yeah. And then picking back up on the 26th, I was doing another little experiment here, putting them next to each other and then kind of intermixing them. See what effect that would have. I did the same thing here. Yeah. Those, I mean, you have my two favorite inks right there. And look at that. They blend so well. Oh man, absolutely beautiful. All right, we might be beyond the point where I was skipping days. I think we're beyond that now. Mind you, it's still a battle, but things are getting better. Things are getting better. Not sure what I was doing here. Oh, I see what I was doing. There was something going on with, I think I was having issues with the Platinum Preppy, with Platinum Carbon Black. And I pretty much decided I must have not cleaned it well the previous time I used it. And so I just rinsed the nib in water, the pen still being inked up. So then I started writing, and you see it started fading. At first I thought that was pencil, but no, that's that ink. It started fading because of the water in the feed from rinsing it. And so then I had to keep scribbling and scribbling and scribbling and scribbling until it got back to a normal color. So that's what that is. That's funny. And here we see, actually, I think it started, back on November 4th, I started doing this thing. I think that continues through the rest of the year. So, diamine graphite. Yeah, it doesn't look like graphite to me. Unless you're talking like a 6 or 8B pencil, maybe then, but yeah. Oh, and also here, so at some point I had gone back to 2 pens, and then here on November 4th I went up to 3 pens. I felt like I wasn't using the pens frequently enough, and so maybe getting some dry out. I'm not sure how many pens I had inked up at this point, but I felt like I should rotate through them more quickly. So I upped it to 3. Missed one day there. I think that was that Thanksgiving? I don't remember. Just a couple more days there. That's interesting. I think there was just a lot of things going on, family related, so not necessarily mental health related. Pilot Roshizuku Asagao. Ooh, nice. I bust out the Fire Opal again, Monteverde. All right, this is a nice one. And it's impossible for me to tell if you can see it, but hopefully in here. That Diamine Platinum Jubilee. I love that. That is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And into December. Still missed a day. Interesting. I wonder what was happening that day. I feel like we were celebrating the holidays with 3 families essentially, so there was just a lot going on. Oh, here's another favorite ink, Krishna Candle Day. I have great concerns about Krishna. I reached out to Krishna because their inks are disappearing off the face of the earth. So I'm very, very concerned about that, especially since this is one of my all-time favorite inks, Candle Day. So I emailed them asking, is this temporary, or are you going out of business, or what's the story? And I explained that I absolutely love their inks, one of my favorite brands. And I have yet to hear back. So, and I'm not, at this point, I'm not hopeful that I'm going to hear back. So I think we need to be prepared that the Krishna inks might be disappearing. That is very sad. So here's another one, Krishna Biowood Green. I did pick up a few bottles on Amazon, having discovered that they're basically disappearing. I think there's like 5 or 6 available on Amazon now. So if you want Krishna inks, snatch them up now, the few remaining ones. It's always interesting writing with a Fude nib, because to write small with a Fude nib, you pretty much have to hold the pen at an uncomfortable angle. Yeah, so it writes very big. But this is a great way of displaying sort of the darker properties of J. Urban Laidate. All right, so here's another one of the Krishna inks I picked up, Poika. And I'm not sure, this you should be able to catch. So it's a very, very, very dark teal with almost overpowering magenta sheen. So, yeah. And then here, I discovered one of my favorite reds of the year, Krishna Sindoor. So that was one of the ones I picked up, knowing that they're likely going to disappear. So, oh, and here, another wonderful ink. I was thrilled to pick up a full bottle of Diamine Alpine. It's that sort of dark, very natural looking green. It has this beautiful silver sheen. So, yeah. And to kind of go with that, I loaded up Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes. And this one is more difficult to see the sheen. So hopefully at some point you'll be able to catch that. Yeah, a nice light brown ink. Almost, in fact, it's very close to being too light. But then it has that beautiful silver sheen. Oh. Now we're really almost at the end here. Here we see some definite bleed through, but I don't fault the paper for that, because, and this is going to be a sneak peek at my one of my next videos, which will be my currently inked for January 2025. Again, it's gonna be a quick look. Yeah. Other than that, I'm not gonna say anything about it. Yeah, and then the last day. Yeah, so I'm sad that I've finished this book. I have regrets that so many pages were missed. So to resolve that, I'm hoping 2025 is going to be a better year than 2024, but you never know. So with that in mind, and because I missed all those pages and I feel like, so much of this was wasted for the next year, and this could be a quick look because it'll be covered more in depth in a future video. For 2025, I'm switching to the Hobonichi Techo Day Free. So it doesn't have any of the day formatting. It's pretty much, for the most part, just open pages. So, if I want to write 2 lines on one day, I can write 2 lines on one day. If I want to skip a day, I could just not waste any pages, basically. I can just continue, the very next day or, whatever. It's a lot fewer pages. So I'm concerned that there's not going to be enough here. But I'll tackle that. I have some decisions to make about my process for this one. And boy, I am losing my voice. But there you go. There was a flip through of my Hobonichi Techo for 2024, the Cousin. I love, I didn't show you my little pencil board. And I like that Simona, some people know her as Simone. We have the same pencil board. She's always showing this in her videos. I usually keep this side behind the paper just because if it does seep through, it'll just go on this dark side. So, yeah. Anyway, there you go. Again, I'm sad to see this go. The sun is finally coming out. I'm sad to see this go. I love the feel of it. It doesn't look as good as the little Hobonichi Techo with the black cover. I love the look of that one, but this has served me well, and I am sorry to see it go. But new beginnings every year, right? Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Giveaways are going to be starting very, very soon. Very likely in the first week of the new year. Yeah, because we're celebrating 700 subscribers on my channel. So there are going to be some giveaways. So stay tuned for that. Be sure and subscribe if you don't already. Happy New Year!